Hello everybody. Please let me start by thanking Arseniu Yatsenyuk and the whole team of the Kiev Security for the invitation. I am really happy to have this opportunity to address you today and to wish you all a good and fruitful debate. Because for Europe, it is important to hear Kiev's voice, and for Kiev, it is important to remain vocal. You should not be silent. You should not be hesitant. You should not be ambiguous. That is why I am greatly pleased that Kiev is gathering today so many important international speakers to discuss the most pressing issues of the regional security agenda, including Ukraine's efforts to deter war with Russia, Belarus's struggle for democracy, war and peace in Eastern Europe, and our transatlantic partnership. Among the many battlefields where our unity is most needed, there are two fronts of paramount importance: our common stance against Russia's aggression and our solidarity in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. It is very hard to clearly determine which of those challenges is more dangerous and which is worse from the point of view of the people and nations, the virus or an aggressive neighbor. They both attack unexpectedly. They are insidious. They disrespect rules, and they cause the death of thousands of innocent people. When they attack at the same time, we need more than ever the solidarity and support of our friends. And as we all know, a friend in need is a friend indeed. This is why I will quote with great satisfaction one sentence from the EU-Ukraine summit statement. The 190 million euro support package and the 1 billion euro macro-financial assistance program that the EU has mobilized for Ukraine to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic and its socio-economic impact goes far beyond what any other partner has provided. I am also pleased with the other results of the EU-Ukraine summit held on the 6th of October in Brussels. The EU has recognized the substantial progress made by Ukraine in its reform process and encourages it to further accelerate these efforts. What Ukraine has achieved so far is a joint and remarkable result of all your political leaders, governments, and the civil society since 2014. This is what real unity means and does. Do not compete among yourselves who has achieved more. This is your common accomplishment. As I said at the Verkhovna Rada on the 19th of November 2019, just before your elections, do not argue too much in the campaign. Your history, just like the history of my country, show that internal conflicts in our countries are the greatest gift we can offer to the third country, and you know best who I have in mind. Also remember that your enemies in Europe are waiting for any pretext to break down solidarity between Brussels and Kiev. A sharp conflict among you would be such a pretext. So argue in moderation and remain united on the matters which are the most important ones for Ukraine. Today I would like to underline with equal strength the need for unity of Ukrainians in the face of the most crucial challenges: Russian aggression, European perspective for your country, internal reforms, and the pandemic. When it comes to those issues, there is no place for conflict among you and for attacking each other. Let no one be tempted to use the state and its institutions against internal competitors. In a democratic country, the government and the opposition cannot be deadly enemies who are not thinking how to win the next elections, but how to destroy and eliminate the opponents. I am saying this to my Ukrainian friends, fully aware that this terrible tribal model of quasi-democracy, in other words, an internal fight to the death, has started to prevail in many places in the world. This is suicide. Even America cannot afford to wage this permanent civil war, let alone Ukraine. If you do not respect one another, if you devote your time and energy mainly to infighting, you will become an easy target both for the Kremlin and the coronavirus. While congratulating you on the progress in reforming your state, I would like at the same time to appeal for an even greater effort. A special stress must be put on the judiciary, including reforming the High Council of Justice and an independent recruitment of judges with integrity, and on the fight against corruption and vested interests, that is the oligarchization. I call upon the Ukrainian authorities not to waste this unique chance to meet Ukraine's justified aspirations on its European path. When it comes to Belarus, its uprising follows a chain of revolutions of dignity in Eastern Europe. The Belarusians' fight for the rights contributes to the overall narrative of the democratic values in Eastern Europe. Their message is directed not only towards the Kremlin, but it should also be heard by the West. The Kremlin's threats and its provocations against Eastern Europe are not episodic. Russia's aggression against the independence of its neighbors is systematic, constant, and consistent. The nature of this confrontation is existential. It is a consequence of the distinctly opposite vectors of historical development. While the nations of Eastern Europe strive for national and civil freedom and for equal participation in European and global affairs as sovereign states, today's Russia clings to a neo-imperial model of politics. In fact, Moscow does not recognize any form of coexistence with its neighbors other than subjugation and acquisition. Recent events in Belarus, the heroic behavior of the Belarusian society, and the great potential danger of leaving Belarus under the Russian influence for an indefinite time demands that the United West and Ukraine should not hesitate to act. I agree with those colleagues who believe that the European Union should reconsider its attitude towards Europe's East as a whole. All the willing countries should be given a political signal and assurance that the goal of EU and NATO membership is achievable with clear action plans. The developments in Nagorno-Karabakh prove that without our active and creative policy, the whole region may soon sink into permanent and uncontrollable conflicts. We need a strong democratic leadership of the West. There are two major perspectives. Either the United States, the European Union, and the region's democracies, including Ukraine, offer thoughtful approaches how to support Europe's East on a difficult road to democracy, real independence, and membership in the European project, or the vacuum of leadership will be used by Russia. Recently, in the Financial Times, Arseniy Yatsenyuk made an appeal to the US and European partners to create a joint high-level mission to consolidate global action to defend freedom and democracy in Eastern Europe. It is a good idea. I support those who believe that such a mission could provide a unified vision on how to continue the process of Europe's historic unification and its liberation from threats of authoritarianism, outside aggression, and disregard for human and national freedom. As a conclusion, please allow me to repeat again what I said in my message to the Verkhovna Rada. There can be no just Europe without an independent Ukraine. There can be no safe Europe without a safe Ukraine. To put it simply, there can be no Europe without Ukraine. Nie ma je sprawiedliwej Europy bez niezależnej Ukrainy. Nie ma je bezpiecznej Europy bez bezpiecznej Ukrainy. A prostiše kažući, nie ma je Evropy bez Ukrajiny. Thank you. Ďakujem.